I would like to thank you for your time to be here at Home Cable TV. Welcome to Home Cable TV. I would like to welcome Ambassador Taber Nagy, former United States Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs and former American Ambassador to Guinea and Ethiopia. Welcome to Home Cable TV. Seeking Mr. Ambassador John Peter Pham, former United States Special Envoy for the Sahel region of Africa. Welcome to Home Cable TV. William Ward, a retired United States Army 4-star General and former Commander of AFRICOM. Welcome to Home Cable TV. And Joshua Mazerfi, Research Fellow, Africa and Middle East at the Heritage Foundation. I also would like to welcome here. And I would like to ask you, what was the objective of your visit here in Somaliland?
First of all, thank you very much to Somaliland for allowing us to visit. Our objective was to come and see for ourselves all of the positive things that we have heard about. And as you may know, we have been friends of Somaliland for a long time. And when we received the invitation, we were very enthusiastic to come here, visit as much of the country as we could, see some of the progress, talk to the political people, to see how the democratic progress is moving forward. And I can tell you that the visit was beyond all expectations.
Thank you. Your arrival coincided with the protest by the opposition parties, where both demonstrating at the police were injured and also some civilians died. Did that worry you? What the impact the situation have, if any?
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be back after many years here in Somaliland. Certainly the reports of the protests and the regrettable injuries and loss of life concerned us, and we take the government at its word that there will be a thorough, independent, and complete investigation of what happened. However, what has distinguished Somaliland over the years and what has brought it to the moment it is now, where there is greater movement toward recognizing the long-sought goals of all Somaliland people for recognition, has been the unique, peaceful, consensual manner in which disputes have been mediated and resolved. And in our meetings, we were honored to be received by His Excellency the President, but we also met with government ministers, civil society, women's groups, and we also took time to meet with both opposition parties, and our message was the same throughout. This is a unique moment for Somaliland, and the key is to preserving that hard-earned reputation that Somaliland has had for peacefully resolving its differences, muddling it through somehow. So we called on all parties to use their goodwill and talk to one another and to arrive at a solution that advances the country as a whole and not to jeopardize the progress that has been made.
Thank you. In March, the President of Somaliland visited U.S. and the outcome of his engagement with the U.S. highly positive, and many analysts say could make a shift in the U.S. policy towards Somaliland. I would like to ask you, what are the thoughts on that?
Well, thank you, Al. So I was fortunate enough to host the president at the Heritage Foundation when he went in March. And yes, I thought it was a very positive visit. I think that there had already been momentum building in Washington in the direction of recognizing Somaliland. And I think the president acquitted himself well. His ministers also did very well during that visit. They made the case for why Somaliland deserves recognition. And I think it built on the momentum that was already there. I think now Somaliland has more friends in the US Congress than it did previously. I think its case is better known, both within the US government, but even outside of the US government with institutions that can also affect American policy. So that's the momentum I think that Somaliland has right now. If Somalilanders are able to continue resolving disputes peacefully, coming together, unifying around this goal of maintaining a stable democracy.
Some of you have been in Somaliland before, and some of you are here for the first time. You have toured the country from Hargeisa to Berbera to Borame. What did you learn other than what you know before?
Well, thank you for that question, and I too am happy to be received and treated so well when we came to Somaliland for our visit. It is a pleasure to be here. I visited the very first time when I was a commander in Mogadishu, as well as southern Somalia, working during Operation Restore Hope. And I had an opportunity then to come to this part of the country, to Somaliland, and see the great devastation from the Civil War. I was here in 1993, and although I didn't spend a lot of time on the ground, I was able to see the destruction that had occurred across the countryside and in the cities. On this visit, when I returned, a totally different picture. A picture of development, a picture of growth, a picture of vibrancy in the streets, with people moving around, children going to school, working. And for me, that was a very, very distinct and real difference from my last time of being here almost 30 years ago. And so it's important from my point of view that the great progress that the people of Somaliland have been able to have over this time frame continue to improve and move forward so that what is seen as progress, in fact, is sustained and does not change. It is certainly not lost on me that as I went around the country, from the coast to the mountains to the various villages, I see the industry, people doing things, happiness, because they are achieving for themselves a lifestyle that is peaceful, that is stable, and that is secure. And that peace and security generated from within can be maintained the same way as you continue to evolve and go forward. So it's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm very happy with what goes on, and I'm optimistic that the progress that has been made as the country continues to move forward will continue to be made as the status of your country continues to evolve in a positive direction towards its independence.
I would like to ask you, we heard nowadays bills initiated by the US Congress, Somaliland Partnership Act, and amendments on National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA. How would these bills benefit for Somaliland once they come ratified?
The legislation which has been introduced in the U.S. Congress and which has passed the House of Representatives opens the door of opportunity to building a deeper partnership between the United States and Somaliland. It's a signal of the intent. In the United States, we have three branches of government: the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive, three co-equal branches. And the legislative branch is signaling to the executive branch, which carries out activities, that it looks favorably upon increasing partnership. It doesn't specify what that means, but it opens a door. And how wide that door is opened, the depth, will require goodwill on both parties, but also some engagement and some thought, thinking truly what the partners bring to the table, what they present, specifically what their needs are. And so I think this is an opportunity. It is another indicator of the progress that's been made over years by those who advocate for Somaliland. It comes out of the president's visit. The legislation was introduced while he was in the United States, but it's an opportunity, and it's what, as always has been the case, Somaliland's destiny is in the hands of Somaliland's people. What they make of it in the short term, with the questions around the elections here, and ultimately in the long term as the partners engage.
Supports is exchange of ideas, a dialogue, and a comparison of the situation that exists here in this very important part of our global commons, the importance of the area, and as the United States and Somaliland, through the National Defense Authorization Act and its provisions, that opens the door, as was said, so that the discussion, the dialogue, the conversation can begin, and through mutual interests being realized, how far that goes over time, and nothing happens immediately, but how far it goes over time to the benefit of the Somaliland people, the American people, as well as to the global commons. So various things that would enhance security, that would enable the work that's being done already in Somaliland to be done to higher degrees, wherever that may be, is what we would see happening as the dialogue would progress and continue. Those could take different directions and forms, but again, it's based on partners coming together, discussing, providing considerations that would be taken into account to look for ways in which the security picture, the picture for stability in the region could be enhanced. And that's something that will evolve as the discussions are taking place.
Okay. Is the U.S. ready for championing for Somaliland recognition like they did for South Sudan, Kosovo, and East Timor? Do you think the U.S. now ready for championing Somaliland recognition?
You know, the United States political system often changes its views. It actually goes from administration to administration. We have a president now who will run for re-election in 2024. The current administration, I certainly cannot speak for them. I don't know how much progress will be made, but I can tell you that the direction for recognizing Somaliland is absolutely going forward. Of course, it's very important, as some of my colleagues have said, is to keep the democratic progress in Somaliland going, because as we all know, you can have goodwill that's built up over many, many years, and then something terrible happens, and it's like a house of cards, it all comes tumbling down, so that's critically important. But the way the direction is going, my own feeling is that after the next presidential elections, there will be a very, very good chance for Somaliland recognition.
I would like also to ask you, some of the people of Somaliland are thinking that U.S. going to take military base in Berbera. So do you have any information about that?
No, we don't. We don't have any information about that, and it's, as I said, discussion, dialogue, nothing comes quickly, so that's something that's not determined at all.
My last question, as a Somaliland friend, is what is your final words that you wanted to share with the people of Somaliland?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I would say thank you to all the people of Somaliland, the Somaliland government, for an extraordinary trip. It really has been wonderful. We've been received with great warmth and hospitality. And then second, I would say that I absolutely understand the passion that Somaliland has for recognition, and we are working on that ourselves. But Somalilanders should continue doing what they've always done, which is build their own country, take responsibility and initiative for building this country, and don't wait for anybody else to come and help you. Absolutely advocate for recognition, advocate for closer ties with countries all over the world. But this country has been built, and all of its achievements are due to Somalilanders themselves coming together, working hard, taking responsibility for their country. I so admire that about Somaliland and about the people here. So I can only say, again, thank you. You have my support and my admiration, and I look forward to what you all, what Somalilanders are going to achieve.
For me, it's very similar. It is a very impressive place to be because of what I witnessed from before. The peace and stability that you have achieved over the last 30 years is peace and stability that you want to sustain and maintain. It's occurred because you have come together, discussed things, reached consensus, and decided that the entirety, the whole of the society is more important than its individual pieces as you work together. And so maintaining that stability, maintaining that security, so that the great feelings that have amassed around the world for what has been done here can continue to move forward, and you become an example, you become a model, you become a partner of choice because of how you have made societal advances that have been to the benefit of all your people. Not happening overnight. 30 years is a while, but it's a small while, and as time goes on, it will continue to improve. But the path that you've chosen has been the path that has achieved that. And as my colleague said, continuing that path of consensus moving forward will continue to provide goodness for the people. And to me, that's very, very substantial. And I appreciate being here to witness it to this point.
I join my colleagues in thanking the government and the people of Somaliland for their warmth, hospitality. We've been nothing but at home here, and I'm very grateful for that welcome. Also join them in encouraging to continue along the path. Many sacrifices have been made over the years, first for liberation of this country and then to build it up, and to respect that sacrifice and to build, going forward, using the same mechanisms of consensus, consultation, and the pursuit of the common good. And the only thing I would add on top of that is keep touch with the culture. I mean, your culture is part of the uniqueness that makes you what you are. We live in a world that is very interconnected, very fast-paced, and that's wonderful. Technology is a wonderful thing, but one has to be grounded and rooted in something. And this place has, and the Somaliland culture has something very unique, and I'm very edified to see young people maintaining those roots, those contacts, and learning the traditions, and that's a wonderful thing, and that'll keep you rooted in a fast-changing world. So very happy to see that.
I have visited so many countries in the world, and I have to tell you, Somaliland is one of the most impressive places I have ever seen. Recognizing where you started, what you have achieved, you've achieved it on your own. The people of Somaliland have so much to be proud of. I know in my heart that sooner or later, the rest of the world will open its eyes and see what is obviously in front of them. A thriving, prosperous, stable, moving forward country. It's there. It exists. The only thing missing is this quote-unquote formal recognition. So that will happen. My last point. During this trip, we have seen incredible treasures. Oftentimes it's people from outside that see the real treasure someplace else. For example, Las Gil, the beautiful caves there. They are a world-class tourist site. It should be promoted. It should be open to the rest of the world to bring tourists in. The beaches of Berbera, phenomenal beaches. It's a perfect place to bring tourists. It's a phenomenal long airport there that can land any plane. And now you have a thriving port, which no doubt will become one of the most important ports in East Africa. So you have so many incredible advantages. The Somaliland people have so much to be proud of. And I want to thank you for sharing some of those treasures with us during this brief period of time. And you can be assured that I think I can speak for all of us that we will come back and savor it even more.
Thank you for your time and welcome Somaliland.